Right folks, so we looked there coordinate geometry of the line. Now we'll go through this briefly. First thing you got to note, suppose, is your XY axis. So your X goes across and your Y is up. So Y is up. So if I had the point here, say, that point A, it's generally given the capital letter, that point there, as you can see, is 2 across in the X and then 1 up. So it'll be 2, 1. If I had the point here, B, minus 1 across, 3 up. So minus 1, 3. The bit that people always mess up on is the ones that are on the axis. So say the point C there. C is the point 4 across, 0 up. Or if it was down here in D, that point D there is 0, minus 3. 0 across, 3 down. So that's my Cartesian axis, that's my XY axis. Then all these formulas are given to us in the formula book. So if they asked us for the length, say of AB, now the way they write that, 2 straight down lines, find the length of AB. Now when you're doing that, write out your points. So my points there are 2, 7, and 8 minus 4. And when you're labeling your points, your first point stands for an X, your second point stands for your Y, first point stands for your X, second for your Y, and then your 1s for your first point, 2s for your second point. So X, Y, X, Y, or X1, Y1, X2, Y2. Now always write down your formula. So your formula for this one, X2 minus X1 squared plus Y2 minus Y1 squared. And then horse in the values. So the square root of 8 minus 2 squared plus minus 4 minus 7 squared. Just be careful if that was a double minus. Say if there was a minus 7, it'd be minus 4 minus 7, which I might change that to actually. So the B is your 0.2 minus 7. And we're going to write that as minus 7. Now that becomes a plus, but let your calculator deal with it. So minus 7, double minus in it. When you work that out, put it in your calculator, just type it as you see it. We get 3 root 5. Now that's in third form. If they wanted it in so many decimal places, press your SD button, say the 2 decimal places, 6.71. Now I prefer the third form, but it depends what they wanted. So that's your length, or that's your distance. If they wanted to work out the slope of them 2 points, say they said find the slope of BC. The slope formula is rise over run, or your change in height, which is my y's, over your change in x, which is my run. So my point B is 8 minus 4, point C is 0, 7. Label your points, x1, y1, x2, y2, write down your formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You can see it's often given that symbol m, or the letter m, so m for slope. Fill in them values, 0 minus minus 4, my double minus, over 8, or 0 minus 8. Put that in your calculator if you wish, and you get 11 over minus 8. Now what that means, when you see a negative slope, it just simply means it's going downhill, going down the way. Right, so we'll carry on more slope here. So if I have a positive slope, that means it's going uphill. And the bigger the value, the steeper the slope. So they're both positive slopes. But say this one might have a value of 2, that one could have a value of 1. And then this one could have a value of an 8. Negative slopes, they go downhill. Once again, the minus in front of it just means that it's going downhill. And the coefficient, or sorry, the number, indicates how steep. So this could have a slope of minus 5. That could have a slope of minus 3 over 7. Both being minus, both going downhill. The key thing in slopes here is the terms parallel and perpendicular. If you see parallel, that means it's got the same slope. So think of your double yellow lines. Think of your train tracks. They don't meet because the slopes are the same. So M1 is equal to M2. Perpendicular, on the other hand, have opposite slopes, I would say, or they multiply to give minus 1. So m1 is perpendicular to m2 if they meet at right angles. And what happens there is the slope of m1 times the slope of m2 is equal to minus 1. So say, for example, the slope of m1 was 3/5. Perpendicular to that would be, turn it upside down, 5/3, and then change the sign. The sign needs to be changed in one of them, because remember, overall, if that's positive, it means it's going uphill. Negative means it's going downhill. If I multiply them two together, put it in your calculator, you get minus 15/15, which is minus 1. A thing to note in your perpendicular slopes, say we had the slope of 1/7, or we'll say minus 1/7. Perpendicular to that, turn it upside down, 7/1, and change the sign overall. So remember, that's minus, that's positive. Again, them two would multiply together to give me minus 1. And the ones that will feck you up is whole numbers. So say the original slope was 2. A lot of people just say perpendicular to that is minus 2, but if you multiply those two together, you get minus 4. So anything with a whole number, write as a fraction, and perpendicular to that, turn it upside down, and change the sign overall. And by doing that, we'll see if we multiply those two together, we'll get minus 2/2, which is minus 1. So there's a lot going on with slopes, and that's going to be crucial for the equation of our line. So say they give us 4 points. A, which is minus 2 minus 4. B is 5 minus 1. C is 6, 4. And D is minus 1, 1. They might say, show that AB, these two straight down lines, CD. Now what them two straight down lines mean is that they're parallel, just like my train tracks. And to show that they're parallel, we're going to have to find the slope. So find the slope of AB and find the slope of CD. So write down your 2 points. So A is the point minus 2 minus 4. B is the point 5 minus 1. Label them x1, y1, x2, y2. Throw it into your slope formula. What's in them values? Minus 1 minus from the formula, and then y1 is minus 4 over x2, 5 minus from the formula, and x1 is minus 2. When you work that out in your calculator, you get 3/7. Now to work it out for CD, C is the point 6, 4, D is the point minus 1, 1. Label it x1, y1, x2, y2, throw it into your formula once again. And here I get minus 3 over minus 7. If you put that in your calculator, you get 3/7. So they're parallel because M1 is equal to M2, therefore parallel. Yeah, so parallel lines have the same slope. Parallel lines have the same slope. Perpendicular lines, on the other hand, have opposite slopes. So you turn it upside down and change the sign. Now we'll see that when we're finding the equation of a line. So let's say, for example, and we'll build it up. So your equation of a line. So the equation of a line formula, there's two of them. One of them is this. Y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Now from this, we see we need two things, a slope and a point. And the point goes in for x1, y1. So they might say, find the equation of the line passing through the point 2 minus 7 with slope, and we'll do a tricky one, 2/3. So how do we label our point? x1, y1, and our slope is m. Fill it into your formula. Y minus, my y1 is minus 7, is equal to m times x minus 2. Now, when I have that fraction on the bottom, that comes in around in front. So it's going to be 3 times all of that, and your 2 minuses there make it plus. Tidy that up. 3y plus 21 is equal to 2x minus 4. And for the purpose of this, we'll get everything to one side. So minus 2x plus 3y plus 21 plus 4 is equal to 0. Minus 2x plus 3y plus 25 is equal to 0. Yeah. Another equation of the line option is the form y is equal to mx plus c. Now this is of great use in order to get the slope when given the equation. So they might say, find the slope of 4x minus 6y equals 7. So they give me the equation of the line, so I can't use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The way we get the slope is, get it in the form y is equal to mx plus c. So get y on its own. So 4x minus 7 is equal to 6y. I like keeping the letter and looking for positive. And we're trying to work out what 1y is, so we're dividing everything by 6. 4 over 6x minus 7 over 6 is equal to y. So the slope there is the number in front of x, which is 4 over 6. Now that actually simplifies down to 2/3. This other bit is known as the y-intercept. So where it cuts the y-axis, say just below minus 1 minus 7 over 1. So you might have a line looking like that. So we'll do another one. Say they said find the slope of 5x plus y is equal to 8. Here, my y is positive. I'm going to move that over there. Y is equal to minus 5x plus 8. So it's in the form y is equal to mx plus c. M stands for slope. So the slope there is minus 5. That plus 8, just telling you where it cuts the y-axis. And it's got a slope of minus 5, so it's going downhill of some description. Yeah, now I know this is real rough and ready, but sure, it'll be some sort of use to you maybe. What we'll do then is, say they said, find the equation of a line through this is the key one, these sort of ones, through 2, 4, and which is parallel to 5x plus 8y is equal to 7. Now if I was answering that equation of a line, I'd write down my formula. And by doing that, I see I need 2 things. I need a slope and a point. So there's my point. I just need to get my slope from this. So to get the slope from that, I'm going to use the second formula, y is equal to mx plus c. So get y on its own. So 8y is equal to minus 5x plus 7. Y is equal to minus 5 over 8x plus 7 over 8. So the slope of that line is minus 5 over 8. Now you've got to decide, is it the same or is it different? And that's where parallel comes in. Parallel lines have the same slope. So I'm going to keep my minus 5 over 8. I'm going to use my point 2, 4. Label your point x1, y1, and my slope is m, and fill it into that formula. So y minus 4 is equal to minus 5 over 8 times x minus 2. Whatever on the bottom comes in front. And I will get rid of the brackets by multiplying. And then just tidy up. So we have 5x plus 8y minus 32 minus 10. 5x plus 8y minus 40 is equal to 0. We could do a different style of question. Well, similar styles, something slightly different. You could say find the equation of the line through, you can make up any of these, through minus 1, 6, and it's perpendicular to x plus 7y equals 9. Again, once I see the equation of the line, I know I need to write down my equation of the line formula. Y minus y1, m times x minus x1. I need two things. I need a point and a slope. So I need to get my slope from this using y is equal to mx plus c. So get y on its own. So 7y is equal to minus x plus 9. Now it's a good habit, when you see x, stick a 1 in front of it. And then y is equal to minus 1 over 7x plus 9 over 7. So the slope of that line is minus a 7. Perpendicular, if it's a parallel, keep it the same. Perpendicular to that, let's turn it upside down and change the sign overall. So that's minus, that's positive. And 7 over 1 is the beauty that it simplifies just to 7. So now I've got my slope, which is 7. And my point there is minus 1, 6. Label your point x1, y1, your slope m, and throw it in. Tidy that up. Your two minuses make it plus. And then get everything to one side. So that's a real common question, and it's a type question that junior certs find, and even leaving certs find as well. Now, another thing to take note of is this thing cutting an axis. So the easiest way, say they said graph the line 4x plus 2y is equal to 10. The easiest way to graph that line is find where it cuts both the x-axis and the y-axis. Now, it cuts the x-axis when y is equal to 0. So you have to remember this. If you see cuts, intersects, meets the x-axis, you have to know that. So within that equation, I'm going to write it as 4x plus 2 times 0 is equal to 10. 4x is equal to 10. X equal to 10 over 4. You simplify it down. 5 over 2 or 2.5. So that point, remember a point's made up of an x and a y, is 2.5 and 0 because my y was 0. The other point cuts the y-axis, you've guessed it, when x is equal to 0. So back in up here, you're going to say, you can just simply disappear them, get rid of them. 4 times 0 plus 2y is equal to 10. 2y is equal to 10. Y is equal to 10 over 2. Y is equal to 5. So that point again is written as x and y is 0, 5. People often put the two answers together. So if I had to graph it, now this is rough. My point there is 2.5, 0, say there, and 0, 5 up there. And then I get a nice straight line. That would be my answer. Now just looking at that, this is an aside here. If I asked you to find the slope of the line 4x plus 2y is equal to 10. Remember, you use that formula, y is equal to mx plus c. Get y on its own. And then y is equal to minus 4 over 2x plus 10 over 2. So that is in the form minus 2x plus 5. So my slope there is minus 2. And the 5 is where it cuts the y-axis. I can see that. So I can see it cuts the y-axis at 5, which is what that tells you. And that's slope. You could, as well as using them 2 points and going x1, y1, x2, y2 and throwing them into the formula, some of these might be good at saying this thing rise over run. Rise is how high up it went. It goes up 5 and it goes across 2. Or 2.5, sorry, in this one. Only thing is it goes, I suppose, down because it's going downhill. And if you work that out, 5 over 2.5 gives you 2. It's a minus because it's going downhill. Exactly as we said there. So you could use this thing, rise over run, if they give you the picture. I can't really think of much else at the minute. You see the term origin, that means 0, 0. Oh, and the only other thing maybe kind of linking into your algebra is finding where 2 lines intersect. And for that, you're using simultaneous equations. So if they ask you where does 3x minus 2y is equal to 17 and 4x plus 3y is equal to 0 intersect. So what I always try and get is the same number of y's, different sign. So how many y's have I got on the top line? I've got 2, bottom line 3. So I'm going to multiply that top line by 3 and bottom line by 2. Just multiply by the opposite number. And since the signs are different, we don't need to multiply any of those by a minus. So that full line, 9x minus 6y is 51. 8x plus 6y, 2 zeros are 0. Same number of y's, different sign they go. 17x is equal to 51. X is 51 over 17. X is equal to 3. And fill that back into any of these equations. I generally just throw it onto the top. So instead of saying 3x minus 2y is equal to 17, I'm replacing the x with 3. So 9 minus 2y is equal to 17. Bring across maybe your minus 2y. Minus 8 is equal to 2y. Y is equal to minus 8 over 2. Minus 4 is equal to y. Now in this instance, you do put the points together because the points made up of an x and a y. So it will be 3 and minus 4. It's not asking you where it cuts the axis. I would say hopefully that's enough. It's real rough and ready. Go over the junior cert questions yourselves now.